let's start off with how you found out about Ibogaine and what inspired you to seek it out.
I heard about Ibogaine 10 years ago through a friend, and I was lucky to have an experience with it at that time, and the experience was positive, and it just sort of became a part of me. And 10 years later, I felt compelled to come and explore Ibogaine again. And so I followed my instinct and my intuition, and I came to see what kind of work I could do on myself using Ibogaine.
Fantastic. What were some of the insights that you feel you've been shown, that you've been able to share with yourself during the Ibogaine session?
From the inside out and communicating with the medicine, I have been having problems with anxiety and depression, and the direct, or the first experience, okay.
Cursing's allowed. This is an unedited
Sure. Okay, I got
testimonial.
it. So the first 20 hours were not, very pleasant. There was some parts that were interesting, and the lucid dreamlike state for me was mostly just static. So I was just disconnected and static in my brain, and my body was just feeling the effects of being under the influence of Ibogaine. And then about 20 hours after taking the medicine, something really started to change and kick in. And I feel amazing, and all of the negative feedback in my brain is just silent, and I was able to work on that directly in the lucid dreamlike state. And so now my energy feels great, and I feel grounded. It's awesome.
It sounds like you felt like you had some level of conscious control during the dream state.
Well, I definitely didn't ever feel like I was unconscious or unable to be in control of my destiny. But mostly what I felt in the dreamlike state was a kind of, I would see a kind of technographic, almost like a computer game in my mind that was giving me metaphors of images relative to themes in my life. A lot of them being negative themes, and sort of how to flesh that out, and what kind of system is being utilized to flesh that out.
Do you feel now, after the experience, that some of those realizations or identifications that you were experiencing, now that they feel that they've either gone away or that they have been eliminated, do you feel like there was a possibility that they were acquired throughout your lifetime and not really part of your personality?
I would like to find the simplest way of saying that, because that's really true. Because a lot of it was really just reactionary, and maybe things in life getting out of balance, and knowing, having this depth of wisdom and self, and an intimacy with myself, but that it was just, I just felt out of whack. I needed a tune-up.
So now that you're all tuned up, what is different in your daily life, where you would normally what you would normally target as depression, that area of thought, that belief, that faithless point, or you could say hopeless point? Is that area still there, but is there something new, or is it completely different than before?
I would say it's a combination of both, because now I don't have to fight so hard with myself to work through some of the thought processes that would lead me into into a darker place. I don't have to fight so hard with it, and that there's a clarity. But yeah, I feel committed to continuing to research myself through self-analysis or, other modalities. So no, it hasn't turned me into a different person. I just feel like I've been able to turn out the clearer and more accessible parts of myself.
What are your feelings on just the idea, when it crosses your mind, of an alkaloid obtained from the root bark of Sacrament of Iboga, the West African shrub? What do you feel about something that's so old that so many people don't know about and so beneficial in a psychotherapeutic way? What is your opinion on the status in America? And what is your opinion on the fear based behind it?
It's a pretty loaded question.
Let's simplify it.
I can roll with it. I can simplify it. I feel that what is unknown, it's natural to have fear of. And that it's impossible to educate yourself about everything. So it's natural that in westernized culture or a society that that doesn't really value going in very deep, that says there's an answer, that you need to be diagnosed with something, that it's natural for that to be inherent in American culture. I think it's very sad that we know that this is a medicine that deserves attention and more education and more accessibility for people that want to use it to benefit their lives for addiction or disorder or spiritual purposes. So I feel very fascinated that this is an old plant, and I have to wonder why it has been kept away from being studied. So now that it's being made into pharmaceutical grade, and that it is accessible for people looking to enhance their lives for all the reasons mentioned, I think it's time for a revolution.
Beautiful. I agree. So what would you like to say to anybody who happens to see this thing?
Thank you for coming and
watching 8 minutes without a soundtrack.
For joining us here in the tunnel of the Ibogaine.
Do you feel that this session led you deeper on an introspective level, led you to a deeper place than your first session, since this session might have been a little bit stronger?
I believe that it's night and day, and I'm grateful that my first experience 10 years ago was pleasant and light.
Because you seem the same to me.
Took me 10 years to get back to them being that way, I guess. But what I will say is that I didn't need to have this experience then. All that it did was, maybe turn the dial a little bit for me, and I ended up coming back to it when I needed it now. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Some things were the same, but not much.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. You got it.